Some people still believe that Al Jazeera is the voice of truth. But is it really? Real journalism is not only about what you choose to report. It's also about what you choose not to report. And even worse, it's about what you choose to publish and then quietly delete. When it comes to Syria's coverage on Al Jazeera, one question keeps resurfacing. Why does Al Jazeera's coverage of Syria appears to either omit or soften Hezbollah's documented atrocities while incorporating Hezbollah's own framing? On January 8, 2016, Sky News Arabia covered the starvation campaign and siege of the city of Madaya imposed by both Assad and Hezbollah forces, highlighting the devastating humanitarian impact on civilians. They quoted human rights monitors on the ground. They reported that more than 40,000 civilians were trapped under siege in Madaya, which is all supported by evidence. In that 300 children were suffering severe malnutrition. This was a reporting centered on the victims, not politics. On that same day, Al Jazeera published its own story about the starvation of the city of Madaya. Instead of focusing on the civilians suffering and starvation in Madaya, the article on Al Jazeera focused on the accusations against Hezbollah, asking Hezbollah for a response. Then the article went even further. The article actually included an entire section that says that those accusations of starvation are an attempt to distort and defame the so-called axis of resistance, which includes Hezbollah. In other words, eyewitness accounts, human rights monitors that were on the ground were all treated as propaganda, while the narrative of a designated terrorist organization, Hezbollah, was validated. This is not a coincidence. This is a systematic situation with Al Jazeera, echoing the narrative of the perpetrators. This is Al Jazeera. One of the only articles left on Al Jazeera's website in Arabic about Hezbollah in Syria carries this title: Hezbollah in Syria, Entanglement or Duty? No crimes, no civilian deaths, no sieges, no accountability. Think about it. An Iranian-backed terrorist-designated militia is actually intervening in Syria out of duty, according to Al Jazeera. And remember, this is only one of the few articles left about Hezbollah and Syria on Al Jazeera's website. But the question remains, why would Al Jazeera want to hide Hezbollah's crimes in Syria? The answer becomes clearer once you look at Qatar and Iran's role in supporting the so-called axis of resistance, which includes Hezbollah, all of the Iranian-backed Revolutionary Guard militias, and Hamas and the Islamic Jihad and the Houthis. Within this access, Al Jazeera operates as the main propaganda tool to promote the narratives of these extremist jihadist Islamist terrorist groups that have committed countless atrocities across the Middle East, North Africa. Now, when we talk about Hezbollah's role in Syria, this is one example. When we talk about Hamas's atrocities on October 7th, the Houthis' starvation and abuse of the people of Yemen, once you understand that role, their editorial decisions and choices make absolute sense. Exposing these atrocities will fracture the image of this access that Al Jazeera has been trying to promote for decades, and will also expose Al Jazeera's role in being the main propaganda tool for this access, while it's claiming and spending so much money trying to portray itself as the voice of the Middle East, while normalizing Islamic terrorist groups to global audiences. When a so-called news channel is complicit in hiding crimes, this is no longer a TV channel. This is no longer a news platform. This is no longer a source for information. It becomes a terrorist propaganda organization. This is ME24 Al Jazeera Uncovered, where we expose the truth about Al Jazeera.